Welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. I'm your host, Queen Frostbitten, and we're here today to get down, dirty, and sultry by staying open, educated, consensual, and safe. If you're returning, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for supporting the channel and its growth. If, of course, you're new here, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, because one taste will never be enough.
Awesome. Welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. Today, oh my goodness, I'm going to not only let you introduce yourself, but tell everyone about your new account because your other one got fucked up.
It did. It got banned by someone who ever got in charge, I guess. But I am Mr. Errotic. Hello. My handle on Twitter is Mr._Erotic, I'm sure of, and then the links and everything will be there. But hello. I also go by Dean.
Listen, he is being very, very kind. If you go on over. So I have noticed in your bio now you have non-binary.
I do, yeah.
I need to know when that happened.
That was, I don't know, like it was probably a couple months at this point, like.
And tell me how it dawned. Like
more of like it was a realization of I'm definitely not one or the other.
Right.
It's
okay.
more of like I've always been very fluid with everything. More in my mind, like I didn't really accept it that much through childhood. But
right.
As an adult, I've been more like, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. Right? It doesn't matter what I look like. I could wear a fucking crop top and booty shorts one day and like go out and do some. Hey, you know, I love it. Or I can go out and like do more masks, clothing or whatever. So I realized I was more in between, and I always just felt better when people would refer to me with they, and then not, and like I don't know, just like a lot of things in media as well, where I would always identify with the character who like didn't have a face, or like was wearing a mask, or you didn't know what their gender was, and I was like, that's me. And then like kind of looking back on it through life, I was like, oh, okay. I would always play like the genderless character in any video game. I was always like the little sneaky like creeping around kind of spy or whatever. So I was like, yeah, I just kind of always fucked with the ambiguity of everything, and I liked it.
Yeah, fucking love it. So it was always kind of a subconscious kind of thing that hadn't been realized.
Yeah, more. It was definitely like I didn't have the words for it up until, I mean, it. Granted, it's been more in the zeitgeist to be aware of gender identity and stuff like that, and the identity of like not being a gender at all, and just being yourself. So I think that's like the more accepted that has become in the world, the more I'm like, well, let me think about me. I'm like, well, everyone else is starting to come out. Let me have a little thought.
Let me have my moments.
Yeah, so it was definitely just a culmination of things and events, I guess.
Right. Okay. So I apologize, of course, that I referred to you as he.
Oh, you're good.
I'm still used to the names. But so with looking at your content, I have noticed that even before you made that self-realization that you posted a lot of stuff that was like booty related. There was a lot of like sensual feminine characteristics. So I can see that for a long time because I've been following you for I followed you whenever you had your old account and I followed you with your new one. I'm still torn up that you lost your account for you. Okay.
It sucks.
It's so annoying to start over. It gives you a fresh start, but building
I looked at it, yeah. I definitely looked at it in that way where I was like, okay, well, I know a lot of those accounts that I was following on that last one, I don't fuck with their morals anymore.
okay.
Or I actually give a shit about them now and I don't want to support those pages where I'm like, ew, no,
Right.
that's not my vibe. I don't like really aggressively straight stuff or anything
Right.
like that, where it's very men's porn, I guess, like the Pornhub kind of stuff of just like things that are way more exaggerated than they should be.
Yes. Oh my God.
So,
I was actually talking to my primary mate the other day about a porn that he watched that was very impressionable early on, and I can't remember. I don't think he even remembered who the performers were, but there was a guy that was like, it was like kind of like vanilla porn, and then you got to a point in it, and he's like, "Get in the hole," and it was like super aggressive
get in the
and super
hole.
masculine, and I'm like, "What? What in the hell?" Like
Oh my
that would
God.
terrify me.
Yeah,
Like I understand
no.
being rough and excited and shit, but to be like watching some kind of like normal vanilla porn and then all of a sudden somebody screams, "Get in the hole!" and you're like,
Yeah, no, like very jarring. Oh my
I think that
God.
would be like borderline traumatizing if you're expecting like straight vanilla porn.
Yeah, like that's a
Right?
hard right turn of any for
I was like, I don't think that belonged in that one. May
no, like they stitched two porns together and they're like it
right.
started off as like Ashley Madison and then went to fucking Kink Castle or
Yes,
something.
that's what I said. I was like, I think that was a mistake. It was humorous,
Yeah, I mean looking back on it was funny.
entertaining.
Yeah, but in the moment you're probably like, oh, what?
So that kind of brings me to one of the questions that I have for you today. With, of course, your journey from kind of changing, transitioning as a performer, have you ever been in any of those moments where you're like, yeah, this is just not for me at all? Like, this content is just not for me?
Like my own content or
No, like if you're viewing another performer.
oh, yeah, like there's definitely been just any of those like really I don't know what the right words for it are. I don't want to say masochistic because I think that's like enjoying giving. That's enjoying giving pain, right? That's
You
fine, I guess, but I'm just like,
okay?
I'm not
Okay.
into it.
You
I'm
don't
like,
like the
yeah,
whole rough. You like the
I
light,
know
sensual, like rough play.
it's more of like I don't want to see someone get degraded
Mhm.
verbally and mentally. Like I don't want someone to I don't want to see like abuse in my eyes where I'm like that
Oh, okay.
I
So
could
masochist
out of context.
fucking loves pain. They love the abuse. They love the
Yes.
degradation. So you're not really into any kind of, I guess, something that would lean into being a masochist. Like you like the light play, but not like rough stuff. Is that what it is?
It's more like I don't mind. I like the rough stuff. Like I've done rough stuff in
Right.
my life and also in like my content. I feel I can get a little more rough and aggressive
Right.
sounding.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the like my brain just goes to an episode of fucking Broad City, and it's Alana Glazer talking about like watching straight porn, and she's just
Mm,
like, "Take it, you little girl," and she's just like, "Ee!" and it's like that kind of stuff of like the hyper
right.
fucking take
Over
it,
the
and then
top.
just like the not wanting it being part of the play. I'm like, no, no, no. Mm-mm.
Okay. Right.
I'm like, there's a level of like, oh shit, like CNC talking about it and being
Mhm.
briefed on it and like being communicative with it and
Right.
everything like
Yeah,
that. That's fine. That's play.
for
But
sure.
like when it's one person enjoying it and the other person being like, I'll play along with this. It's like,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. So I don't know. I feel like I've realized I'm a lot more uh demi, I guess, than I realized because I did actually a workshop with my partner
Okay.
recently about like sexual patterns in our lives and everything like that. And it was a whole thing that was being taught by this wonderful woman. I don't remember her name at the moment. But the whole point of it was just like kind of breaking down what our views on sex were in our brain and like through our life of like, okay, what do you feel sex is for in your personal life?
Right.
And then like going through it and breaking it down and what are your turn offs and what are your turn ons. And I never really had sat down with that before and like genuinely thought about it. So it was really an interesting exercise. And
Yeah,
like here,
sounds very
I have
insightful.
my notebook. Hold on.
Ooh.
I'm like, I can share some of it because I don't recall it off the top of my head. But it was the sex workshop.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
Sounds
like
very insightful.
it was, yeah. There's like it took you through what are the sexual like what are your sexual motivators, what are your sexual beliefs, what's the sexual lifestyle that you would want. So like what's the ideal situation for you to have sex in? Is it clean? Is it are both of you and your partner taking a shower or have like recently cleaned yourself in some way?
Right.
Is the lighting good and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they had us go through a fantasy playthrough in our head where it was like, what is your fantasy that you might not have ever done before, or what was
Mm-hmm.
something that you've always thought about that never have done, and like what's your go-to? And uh, it was really insightful. It was a lot of fun to do actually, and I didn't really think, I didn't have any expectations going into it, and I was like, oh, this was awesome.
Right. It sounds fucking amazing. Like,
Yeah,
not everybody has the opportunity to go to something like that, especially not with a partner and to be comfortable getting to, just kind of embrace yourself. Like, that's super fucking awesome. I wish that was offered everywhere so that more people will be more accepting of themselves. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's actually it was a free course. Or it was a free lecture that the woman just throws for
That's
some of
fucking
her followers on Instagram, and she's not uh like super big influencer or anything like that, but my partner found her and she's been great.
That is fucking awesome. Like, I
Yeah.
need I need to know this individual. I need to be
Yeah,
like, keep up
I
the good
can
work.
actually email I'll forward you the email that my partner gave me of like the because it was just a recorded Zoom, so I
Mhm.
can send it to you and you can run
No.
through it and show it off if you want.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So that kind of leads me to what I wanted to talk about with kind of the evolution. So since you've kind of made the realization of who you're kind of becoming, who the kind of you already had that foundation there, but you're realizing it now.
Yeah.
What has it looked like for you along the journey? Like, how do you see yourself now?
Um Definitely a lot more confident for sure. Just like from I don't know, like I can kind of look back on my iterations of myself, I guess, and kind of like look at some key point events where I was in my life where I was like, okay, at that point I had no confidence. I had very little body confidence at all. I had any sort of motivators were very low. Like I was just not in a good space, and now like I don't know later now I'm here. I notice the confidence more for sure. I notice just like comfortable in my skin
Mhm.
versus how I was before where I felt almost naked. And
Right.
it honestly was a lot of like getting tattoos and stuff where it was like I felt more in control of me and my life. And it's been great. And like even recently actually, I like last weekend I did a mushroom trip with my partner and our friend, and we just went to the park and sat by the pond and I listened to music all day. It was fucking wild. But at the end, like towards the end of it, like on the come down ish, I had like the weirdest out of body ish experience where I just kind of slumped over and stared into the carpet or something
Mhm.
and fully felt like uh my best explanation was like a part of a horcrux of me died or something. Like the whole thing, I was I was on a Harry Potter kick for some reason this whole trip,
Okay.
but like that ending part, I was like, oh, the gross ass bloody Voldemort part of me just died and went away, and now I
Mhm.
felt brand new, and I was like, man, this is weird. And I tried explaining it uh to my partner and our friend at the time, and they were just like, uh-huh. And I was like, I'm obviously not doing this correctly, but it was something else. It was crazy. It was awesome. I loved it. It was very helpful.
It sounds like it. I'm glad. It's like a cleanser.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It felt like a yeah, I don't know. It was wild. The explanation is very hard.
So that leads me to a question that I have burning that I've been wanting to ask you for a while.
Okay.
What was that anything to do with kind of you coming face out? Because before you weren't face out.
Hmm.
So did that have anything to do with you becoming face out? Kind of what prompted you to just dive in?
Dive into being me, or like dive
Yes,
into,
into showing because you weren't about the face before.
oh, showing face in my
Yes.
content. I was like, that's an interesting way to phrase showing face. No, but physically in my content. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember there really being a moment. What was the question, like? Was there a different, or like what was my?
What prompt you? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think it was more of like, if I'm gonna be successful at this at all,
Mhm.
I can't hide from it. Like I have to go
Right.
into it and like live with this being a part of me. And I
Right.
think the hiding my face and like I had a lot of ideas of like, oh, wear a mask, I'll be unique and da da da. And I was just like, no, because I like showing off my art and like the stuff that I take. And I thought also it would be a lot harder to like hi mama. It would be a lot harder to get away with like piracy, because it was also like my face is in it now and you can't be like, oh, look at me.
Yeah. Right.
um but yeah, I definitely, it was more of like kind of just claiming it as mine, where I was
Mhm.
keeping it separate and keeping it kind of in the dark, and then I just was like, fuck it. I don't, if I'm going to be any successful, I know all of the successful porn stars are using their face. And successful
Yes.
and in not even just like porn stars or sex workers, but just anything in this realm.
Right.
Generally, to be successful, you need to show who you are.
You know, I've noticed that I've did a lot of research on, the more successful models and the only ones that I've noticed that are like extremely successful that are not face out are the ones that have no like identifying marks. Like they could be
Yeah,
anybody, like no tattoos, no piercings, like just strictly this regular blonde with a few curves that could be anyone that you want her to be. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's very like imprint, like you can envision anyone on them, or just like
Yes.
imagine, or maybe even imagine yourself if you're watching that for that reason.
Yes. And with it being like no identifying marks and then being like a vanilla,
Yeah,
kind of body style, it's one of those things that they could literally be anybody you want them to be. And
yeah,
I've noticed that with a lot of like whenever it comes to people selecting their paid partners, like if someone has escort or something along those lines, a lot of people prefer like the not over the top. Like they don't want all those extra bells and whistles. They want plain. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like they want that blank slate that they can envision
Yes.
anyone else.
Yes. So that's what I found in my research. And I feel like that's amazing for those people that do want to be kind of, I guess more private and mysterious. But if you want to do that and you do have tattoos and stuff, it's kind of harder.
Yeah, it definitely, it is. Like you can't hide from it on top of like being that unique at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be ambiguous, but you're super unique and your body's very distinctive. Where it's like, okay, how far do you want to go with
Yes.
the disbelief of like, oh no, I'm not that. If I think it was also just like I think I had a thought of like, man, if someone did come up to me and recognize me with my tattoo because of my tattoos for my content, because I'm like, they're not like undistinctive. Hi, they're not
Right.
undistinctive. But it was just like I might as well just use my face. Fuck it.
Right.
It
Right.
was just I kind of just stopped giving a shit. Where I was like, I've done this twice now. Oh no, actually, you know what? I think I can point it back. I went to a nude beach, and
Mm,
that was it. I went to a
okay.
nude. Yeah, I went. It was I was actually for some of the content on my page
Hmm.
with the Boho Boys. We went to a nudist like little part of the lake here in Texas,
Okay.
and I just was like, man, I'm out here fully nude. Like I was throbbing hard. Like
Right.
we were taking photos, we were set up, we were like making some pretty hot stuff on the beach, and like no one was looking at us.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, I could be doing the most outlandish shit, and no one would give a fuck. Like
Yeah.
no one cares.
Yeah.
So if I can like take this little part of or this little experience and run with one thing from it is like okay, I could dress or not dress
Yeah.
and be recognized all at the same time and not care. So
Yeah.
it was very freeing and it was very cool, and I definitely suggest if anyone can go to a nude beach and see how you feel.
That's fucking
Like
awesome.
it's fun. Like just do it once, and if you don't like it, you can say you did it, and if you do, hey, now you know something about yourself.
Right. And it's a new experience, right? How are you going to have growth without new experiences?
Yeah, exactly. I it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Very nice. What was your favorite part about the nude beach?
Uh I mean, people watching was fun. Like it was interesting to see how how everyone was like, what everyone was doing there and why they were there.
Right.
Uh, it felt like some people were there to like show off, and then there was some people who were just like there to vibe. And I was like, this is very interesting. But probably my favorite part was the content making because it was very hot, and
Okay.
it
Okay.
was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Very nice. I love it. So let's kind of go back a little bit to now the last time we talked, you mostly did content with your partner, but you were potentially looking for others to do content with. So, did you have any? I know Texas is kind of similar to Kentucky. It's still kind of behind the times when it comes to being fully open, but there are parts of Texas that are fucking amazing. I know whenever I was in Austin, super accepting community, super
Oh yeah,
fucking awesome community. Now, Houston was kind of okay, and then you got the small towns that are lying out, right? So,
yeah,
has it been hard on your search for other people to collaborate
yes.
with?
um, it was like I kind of realized that with making the content with my partner, it was fun and I really enjoyed it and we both had a lot of fun doing it. However, I didn't want to make all of our sex work too, where I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know how long I want to mix these, where I was like just making content with them. And I was just going, well, I know that she didn't really want to be out and about with it. Like she's got family and people on the internet that she cares about what they think, and that's perfectly reasonable. I don't really have technologically inclined family members, so I'm like, I
Right.
don't give a fuck. And even if they did, I'd be like, okay, did you look? Why'd you look? That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, if you know, just leave it alone. You don't have to go
Right.
looking.
Oh
Um,
man, I've had some interesting stories. I actually had family members find my content and then they were like asking for samples and I was like, "No, bitch, you go pay like other people." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Go on, find my shit and you can pay like other motherfuckers." I don't give that shit for free, especially not to family. I need to charge you double, motherfucker, for looking.
What?
And then,
Why?
yeah,
Why were they? Why?
tell me. You tell me. People are fucking. I think a lot of people feed
Ugh.
into the nonsense because there's a huge incline on like Pornhub and other platforms whenever it comes to stepbro, stepsister,
Yeah.
the step siblings or brother or like incest stuff, and that has become like a huge category that is promoted like crazy. So I
Oh my
think
God.
it has made people, and I understand people have attraction, that's not what I'm getting at. I feel like
No,
it's
yeah.
made people be like, oh, well, I should look for an attraction in someone close to me. Because, I mean, think about it. Growing up, whenever you were interacting with people, who are the first people you're interacting with? Family.
It's your family, yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be your cousins, that's going to be your aunts, that's going to be your uncles, that's going to be your people in your immediate household. And then whenever people see all of this like promotion of sibling stuff and, oh, it's normal, it's okay for me to think about fucking my cousin or something. Like,
Yeah, no. That's
and it's okay. Like if that's what you're into, man, like as long as you're not hurting anybody and everybody's fucking consensual, go for it. But I'm not into cousin fucking.
I don't know. I think that also got a little popular with Game of Thrones and shit like that. I'm sorry, my cat is being a little bastard. Yeah, you are. So I gotta move these plants.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I forgot about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it felt it was way too like
Yeah.
forefront in the plot for any reason. Like that's weird. That was very weird. I did not
But
enjoy that
I
part of
didn't.
it, but I also didn't watch the
I
entire
forgot.
thing. Huh?
I said I completely forgot about that. How kind of intertwined it was with family shit. But I mean, that's how it was a long time ago when they tried to keep the blood royal. I mean, look at fucking Britain and shit. Like there was a lot
Yeah.
of people that fucked around with their family because they thought they had to keep it in the family, keep the lineage going. Like
Yeah,
I'm not into that.
I love those paintings of like the I don't even know what Louis it was, one of them, but just like the historical portraits of the like super heavy incest families. Oh my God. Because you know they did them up.
Yes.
They gave them a full beat in those photos. They
Yeah.
gave them like they've turned them up. So they
Yeah.
looked even worse.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
No.
at that point I feel like it would have been like you would know where it's like, oh, this child has the worst deformities that we could have bestowed upon them because we had sex with your sister or something. Like,
Yeah.
you got to realize that. I know.
Oh, and anybody listening that does not know what I'm talking about, one, it is not okay to literally like fuck people in your family. That's not cool. For multiple reasons. And two, the majority of the porn that you see is not any kind of relation. These are hired actors that are
Oh
playing a
yeah.
part. Not this is not actually family members, okay? Despite what you think, civilians think, this is not actual family members, okay? This is literally somebody playing a part. This is adult
Mhm.
acting. So don't go
100%.
like fuck your cousin or something. Just don't.
Please don't.
We don't need any more of that in the world. Oh
No.
my goodness.
That's the
So,
Midwest.
I like how people like try to have like these certain states because I heard for a long time that they called it Kentucky because
Kin to like Kin.
yeah, because people like to fuck their cousins. Like, yeah, no, that's not cool. And part of that is because the indigenous people from Kentucky literally populated, and a lot of people are related because everybody here just kind of stayed local.
Oh, yeah, I think like my some of my family members are like from Kentucky. And I have family members who
What?
live there right now that are in
You
Kentucky.
didn't
Yeah.
tell me that.
Oh, I like past my grandparents. It was like my grandfather's parents lived in Kentucky or something.
Okay. Okay.
So it
Any
was a
of
while
them
back.
minors?
No. No, we were not we, they. were like some of the biggest plantation owners.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to get away from my last name as soon as possible. So that's what the plan is for me and my partner.
Oh, nice, nice. That's exciting.
Yes.
That's something.
We've been like planning that since maybe the first couple 6 months of dating. I have to hold her because she's being a little
She wants
bastard right now.
attention.
She
Yeah.
does. This is Freckle. This is her debut
She
on
she
live.
she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
Get out of here. She's a demon sometimes. But I love her. Oh,
As you should.
I don't know where we were.
Name changes.
Name changes. Yes, I just don't. I don't want to keep my family name. I don't
Right.
really have any tie to it, or anyone in it aside from my grandmother. So I'm just like, I'm good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So that's kind of weird that you mentioned that, because it's one of those things where I've been planning to have my official name changed later on as well. But
Ooh.
okay, so I kept my maiden name, and then I kept my married name because I have kids. I wanted to have the same last name as them. And then I got married many years later, so I literally have three last names. And everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on with
Oh
this?
my God.
This has to be a mistake."
Yeah. Hyphen,
You
hyphen,
know?
hyphen.
Yeah, yes.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was I guess one of those decisions for me, because it's like whenever you get into acting and stuff, like some people do permanently, like realistically change their name, and then other people, they just have a stage name, right?
Hmm.
It's one of those things that some people are prompt to have a stage name because they don't want their privacy violated, right? Which is
Yeah.
completely understandable. Like there are some fucking weirdo creeps that do some weird shit, right?
Oh yeah.
So that kind of leads me to what I wanted to talk to you about encounters. Have you had anyone like try to, since you come face out, have you had anyone be like aggressive or like be like, oh, I'm going to expose you or some stupid shit like that?
I mean, no, knock on wood. Like I've had, I haven't really had bad experiences with this aside from the occasional comment or something on a post, but I don't know. I feel like I put off enough decent vibes where I don't really offend people, and if I did, I just kind of like, okay. And then I don't escalate it at all. Like if there is any sort of I just
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
what do you
I haven't I haven't seen any kind of like real negativity from the community itself. The majority of any kind of negativity that I've seen in my career is someone that is insecure or unhappy with themselves that just like try to shit on someone. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Yeah.
So like
It's always,
overall,
and it's always a man generally.
yes. Overall, it's been a super positive experience. Like you have the person every now and then that you're like, yeah, no, I'm not into that, and you kind of reject whatever they are trying to throw at you, and they're like shitty for like a second. But I mean, other than that, my experience has been, it's been pretty positive. It's been pretty supportive. The community's pretty supportive. Now, like I said earlier, you excuse me, you do meet people, especially with some of the upcoming models, and they're like entitled or kind of a little shitty. But I mean, other than that, I've seen the community be pretty open and supportive. Um,
Yeah. I feel like it's that like definitely people are very accepting, especially knowing how many people have turned to sex work out of like, this is my last option. I've got nothing else.
right,
And there's a level of respect to that where I think like everyone kind of, if they're an actual sex worker and like someone who's in the community and everything like that, there's a level of like, I know what you're probably going through to a certain extent. Like I can have a general idea of what some of the worst examples are of
right,
what things have people have to go through. So it's sort of like a little humble barrier, I think, to get into it and to be accepted. But like the worst stuff that I've had to encounter with was mostly like posts that I've made with like a female content creator or they them content creator or anyone,
Right.
I've gotten like a few different comments of like, if they're the person receiving, it's always like they've commented take it, like really aggressive, like, oh, take it bitch kind of comments, and I just delete it, block them, and I'm like, I don't want you even seeing my content if you're gonna come in with that attitude. You can get the fuck
Right.
out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you don't, okay, so whenever you're promoting your brand, you don't want it to be saturated with people that aren't what you're trying to put out there.
Yeah, like I have a target demographic. It's the they thems, the queers, the she's, the theys. I'm not generally looking to advertise towards a male audience. The male audience that I do get is generally from the gay community, and most of them are pretty lovely. I'm
Yes.
like,
Oh my
I I
goodness.
I
Yes.
feel like most people who are in the LGBT plus community are accepting. I mean, we've got the mean gays, of course, and we've
Right.
got there's mean people in every subgroup and subgenre of person or whatever,
Yeah.
or genre or whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like we've got a lot of good eggs.
Yes. Yes. I would completely agree. And so I've noticed that whenever it comes to being supportive, that people that don't really identify as straight are usually more supportive. I'm not saying that straight people aren't, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying like people that are in some kind of like queer category, they're more supportive overall. Like
Oh yeah,
they're they're more comfortable with people just completely being themselves, like they don't give a fuck, you know what I mean?
yeah. I think, well, because like anyone being any part of the queer community, there is people who would be very against you. Like even doesn't matter what part of it you're in,
Yeah.
someone out there is very angry that you exist. And
Right.
knowing that and having that knowledge, I think all of us are a little bit more accepting to each other than we would be with straight people, and then straight people are with us at some point. It's like there's a level of disconnect that they can't experience the that like ostracized feeling of being the out one or being the weird one. And I
Right.
feel like that's also kind of combines with the neurodivergent community as well. Like
Yes.
there's some big overlaps.
Yes, I completely agree. So that leads me to this one photo I remember seeing of you whenever you came face out. And I remember specifically your teeth. You were like, if anyone, yeah, if anyone has an interest in teeth. And I'm like, what? What is this?
Hello. Hello, I like the teeth.
So what inspired you to start posting mouth content? Because I didn't see a whole lot of that before.
I don't know. I think there were like I had a friend growing up and I was in high school who she would always comment about my teeth. And then one day she was like, "You have like the hottest teeth." I'm like, "What does that mean? Why why are teeth hot?" And I never got it. Like I'm not attracted to teeth, but I get that I fit a lot of the check marks where it's like, oh, the whatever the canines. I have
Okay.
very sharp canines, and I have like my entire life.
Yeah.
They've just always been like sharp, but I've also never been able to close my mouth. Like
Mm-hmm.
this isn't my closed jaw. I had this, yeah. So they just don't grind against each other. So I assume I would probably not have those sharp ass teeth if I had a regular mouth, but I just
Right.
have bangs. But
Yeah.
now every like I also realize that I like bite mark content where
Mhm.
I've like bit my partner and like on the ass and then taken a photo of it and and like cranked up the saturation a bit so you see the darker parts and everything like that. So it's a lot of fun, and I don't know, I've it's a fun thing to play with. It's a fun extra little tool where I'm like, oh, I can do that too. Neat.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I okay, so I have had an oral fixation for as long as I've been alive. Like even as a kid,
Mm.
I remember being super attracted to the mouth. So, for me, I'm attracted to I guess every aspect you could be attracted to for the mouth, but
Mhm.
the lips and the tongue is like where it's completely at for me. And then I'm gonna look at the teeth. I'm gonna look at the teeth right after that. But
Mm.
like, so whenever you started posting stuff about your teeth, I was like, I need to know what this is about.
Ah, I
so,
need to. I
so
need to have
you
notifications.
definitely got me with that one.
Ah,
Um,
oh, good. I'm glad.
So I had to throw that out there and ask kind of where that was inspired, because I noticed that you started doing some, well, pictures with bite marks. I'm really into that too because I'm obsessed with vampires. One of those
Yes.
kinks, the check boxes, because not everyone has those. You know what I mean? The shape of
Yeah.
the teeth, the impressions that they leave. Like it's definitely something very different, and that's something that you have that a lot of people don't. So
Yeah, it's definitely like I want to play with it more. I want to use it more and stuff. I love oh god. There was a I think it was a GQ shoot
mhm,
with Robert Pattinson,
mhm.
like the one right after Batman where he was just like in all that green lighting and he had spiked hair and shit. And there was one where he was just like showing his teeth and stuff, and I was like, ooh, I don't know why that's hot, but it is.
Yeah, yes,
So I'm
that
like,
is fucking
okay,
hot.
I'll kind of like grab little snips and parts of things I see in media that I find hot, and I'll just like kind of recreate it in my own way. And that's where I get a few of my ideas, or at least inspirations, where I'm like, okay, I'll do that for this and this and that
Right.
and shit. But yeah, I think there was just it was mostly just that friend telling me I had hot teeth.
Mhm.
Um and remembering that, I guess, and then also like realizing how much I like to bite my partner. But that's just
Yeah.
like affection. I just have the chewing gene, I guess.
Mhm,
I'm like
mhm.
I have to teeth on something.
Right, right. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. It's love bites. It's
Yeah,
the love
exactly.
taps.
And it was some TikTok I saw where it was like this girl's arm and it just had like all of the teeth marks on it, and she just
Mhm.
looks at her partner and is like, why? And he goes, I missed you.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's yeah.
I love it. So, with of course, your polyam journey. So, how has your partner kind of been receptive to you finding yourself in the polyam community?
So I'm actually not polyamorous. I'm monogamous, and both of
Okay.
us are monogamous. But we both had a conversation like pretty early on in our relationship where it's like we both enjoy sex. We both
Yeah.
enjoy sex a lot.
Right.
We we had like a couple months where we were very just like we just slept with we didn't have anyone else in the bedroom with us. It was just us.
Mhm.
And then we opened the idea to having like a threesome, and then we got a dating profile for the both of us. Like we have a couples dating profile on a few different apps,
Right.
and we just started dating people, or not so per se dating people, but like meeting up with people together, and then we would invite them into our bed with us and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
But for my content, she's she and I have also had a conversation where it's just like we both know that it's work, and I have
Right.
the disconnect that I can have with it where I'm like, yes, I'm having sex with a person and we're having it on camera, but
Right.
I'm not talking to them outside of working. I'm not like we're going conversations and stuff like that. Like we're friendly and
Yeah, for sure.
that's it. And she's met some of my sex worker friends and stuff that I have made, and one of her best friends from college is one of the people I made content with,
Mhm.
and
That's really
like
cool.
she's the one who introduced us too, and was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, by the way, they also do OnlyFans, and that's how I met them. Um, so it's been very like open communication from the beginning. We know that at the end of the day, we're both each other's and we're together and we're monogamous and closed.
Right.
But with sex, we like to have an open door for others to come in when we invite them.
Nice. Nice. And so with, of course, you being more involved with others and doing collaborations, I know you talk about how you guys do a lot of communicating. So, with that communication, what does it kind of look like whenever you're prepping to do a collaboration with someone else with your partner? Like, what does the communication between you two look like?
To like if all three of us are in something together.
No, like if you are talking to your partner and like giving them insight to whatever the collaboration is going to be with you and
Mhm.
another individual.
Gotcha. It starts off by me just going like, "Hey, I met another sex worker friend," because it doesn't happen that often. I've got like
Right.
four. Um, but I'll be like, they were interested in doing a collab.
Right.
Generally, I like to meet up with them for coffee first, or like somewhere in public where I can get a read on the person.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, and then like both her and I will kind of like look through their content together and comment on it, like and to each other, like, "Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, I like that."
Right.
Do 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 do, and like come up with ideas maybe. So it's very like collaborative. Um, with that in the beginning, and then it's me telling her the address of wherever I'm going,
Hmm.
and being telling her like, I am planning to do this from 3 to 5. If I'm not back by, if you don't hear from
Right.
me from 5:30, start talking to me. Like very just checking up with on each other, and just keeping notified of like that, because it generally when I do a shoot it doesn't take more than 6 hours from start to fin, like leaving the house to getting back to the house.
Right.
So I do have a shoot coming up next weekend with like three or like several people actually.
Okay.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And that was just like the same sort of thing. I talked to her about the people I met, and then I was like, I'm going to go meet up with them for coffee.
Right.
And then I told her about them when I was back from coffee, and just kind of like used her as a bouncing board for like me
Right.
debrief, or like kind of getting a better read on the person, on how like she reacts and how I react, and
Right.
to things like that. So it's definitely, it helps my process and everything like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love that.
yeah,
So, with of course the collaborations, has there ever been anyone that she suggested you work with?
not yet. And also just because she's not in that world, she doesn't use Twitter
Yeah.
really, or OnlyFans. The porn that she does is like, it's mostly reading and auditory she likes. She's not very into the too much visual stimulation content. So she's just like not really into that world.
Right.
But she's like, um, we've talked about like who we would want to have sex with together, but
Oh,
never like
tell
who
me.
to make content with. Hmm.
Tell me about it.
Oh, that's always like, oh, there's one, he's a gay Olympian, and he's for, I think, skiing. He's very
Mm,
attractive. I don't remember his name, but he's the first one that popped into my head.
okay.
But or just like people we meet at parties, or like people we see out at festivals or events or whatever. We're like, oh, they're very attractive, and then she'll just be like, yes, they're very attractive, and then we'll just have a little discourse about that or whatever, or not discussion, conversation,
Discussion.
whatever.
I love it.
But
I
that's
love that
always
you just
fun.
communicate back and forth. I feel like a lot of people don't understand that if you are going to be open to the possibility of being a collaborator, doing, different, whether it's just fetish or whether you're going a little deeper and doing something, more sexual. I feel like most people don't realize how important it is to stay tested regularly and to
Yes.
communicate with your partner. Because if you're not communicating with your partner, ultimately you're not going to be able to make it a long term kind of, not just a goal for work, but to turn it into like a passion, right? It's not going to be there long term, because if you really want to keep your partner and you really want to stay in the work, you're going to have to communicate. It's not one of those things that you can be like just blind about it and then the relationship just work.
Yeah. No, that you have to communicate with your partner if you're if there's anyone who's doing it and you have in that relationship, there has to be good communication because things can get so misunderstood so fast if you don't say anything and your partner can't read your mind, so you just have to tell them. And
Yes.
communication is key. That's it.
I could not have said that better. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I am one of those people that like I'm always promoting them. Like you can't communicate enough. Like it sometimes you're gonna hurt people's feelings, but it's better to hurt their feelings and let them know everything and just pick through it with a fine tooth comb so that everybody knows what's going on. Everybody is on the same fucking page. You can work through it if something does come up. Because I mean, even if you leave like some kind of small shit out, like, oh, well, we finished 2 hours early from the shoot, but we decided to go here and do that. Well, I mean, one, that's a safety risk to not be like checking in with your partner. And
Yeah.
two, I mean, some people do have insecurities that they still have to work through. There are plenty of people I know that are still in therapy. I'm in therapy. I mean, shit, I've been through a lot of shit. So it's one of those things that it's not being over the top or expecting too much of you to communicate with your partner. In fact, it's a level of respect and, love.
Yeah, it's respect for the relationship and your partner because I don't know, I just kind of you going into the situations always with a mindset of like I want to you just treat your partner how you want to be treated. Like just treat people how you want to be treated, but especially treat your partner how you want to be treated. If
Right.
not better than you want to be treated, because you don't know that you want to be treated that well or something. Like just if you feel like you're not doing enough, just do more. And it's like it's not, yeah, just communication is so vital to everything. And I mean, it definitely helps that people with neurodivergencies tend to overshare.
Yes.
uh so it's kind of like both of us have a little bit of a built-in booster where we're just like, here's
Right.
all of my feelings and I'm going to be crying the whole time I'm telling you, but these are everything. This is every emotion. And I mean, fuck, I have days where I have really bad emotion regulation, and that's a thing with autism. Like I will wake up and nothing could have happened. I literally could have just gotten up and will open my eyes and I might be like furious for no reason. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this sucks. And it's not fun.
Right.
But both of us, like we've had a conversation about that where I'm just like, some days I I call them my hands don't work days because first mostly like that's the first thing that I recognize in the morning is I'll get downstairs and I'll start like making breakfast and I'm dropping everything. Like I'm missing everything I'm trying to hit with my hand. It feels like I'm just have them on backwards and it pisses me off to no end. And it just makes me want to throw
Yeah.
whatever I'm holding out the window to never be seen again. So I just have to like take a deep breath, and she usually catches me by that point of like, you seem a little upset. I'm like, yeah, my hands aren't working. And she's just like, okay.
Yeah.
So we there's like not codes, but we have a language between us where we know when we're not doing good, when we're not hot, and when we're not like feeling
Right.
it. So it's really helpful. And that's all I'll say again on communication 100%.
Yes. Yes. I completely agree. I'm very, very similar. There are some days where I'm just like, I don't even like myself today. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be a rough day, but we'll
It's
get through it. It'll just, be progressive and we'll get there. So we kind of talked about your aspirations last time, kind of how you wanted to stay consistent with the art and kind of just grow your brand. So how have your aspirations changed from our previous interview and to this one? Like, have any of your goals changed?
honestly, I don't think so. Like I don't think they've changed. I think I might have just gotten more.
Hmm.
Uh where I still want to just grow my art. I still like using it as an out for my artistic stuff. And um it's like the one form of art that I know that is something I'm a little successful at because I'm like, I find it hot. That's enough for me.
Right.
I'm like, it's good enough. I can post it. But I also just like, I want to help educate people on it as well because it's given me so much in terms of like my confidence and my knowing my self-worth, and not to be like I need like comments from other people to feel good about myself or anything
Right.
like
Like
that, because
validation.
that's not, yeah, and that's not like, it's fun, that's cool, I like getting thirst messages under my
Yeah.
posts, but it it helped with a level of like accepting myself and figuring out what I like to do and figuring out what I find hot and finding myself hot was something that I never thought I would be able to achieve. So literally like that's one of the biggest goals that I didn't even think that I didn't even think was a thing, but I achieved it relatively early in my opinion, where I was like, it took me maybe, I started this in quarantine. I took 4-ish years of doing this to finally accept myself, and that in the long term doesn't sound like that much time. I mean,
Right.
it felt like fucking century because we lived through history, but it was, yeah, it's given me so much, and I have a new level of respect for it, and I want to use it to help people and find, if they can't, if they haven't found that yet, I want to show them this so they can possibly find it. Like I've every friend that I have, uh I have tried to convince them to become a sex worker. I'm like, you can do it, it's so cool, you can do it, and they're just like, I don't, I'm good. I'm like, fine, but you know, you make a
Yeah.
lot of money, and I'm that friend where I'm like, just do it, just do it,
Yeah.
do it. It's so, it's not easy, but it's like it's so fun. And I know that it's not fun for everyone, and a lot of people have the self image issues, and I had that in the beginning, but it's not. It's like it's their journey. It's, I can't
Right.
make them do anything, but I can highly suggest to my
Right.
friends to put their dick or put their ass online and see how it makes them feel, because you know, you learn something about yourself.
Yes, for sure. And I mean, some people don't realize that they really enjoy showing themselves off, or that they really enjoy showing their partner off until they actually take the leap. Now, understand that there are two sides to that coin. Once you put it out there, it's out there. So it better be a decision that you kind of look at before
Yeah,
you decide to dive in. But
there's a level of responsibility you should take with all of the decisions you make in this business.
100%. So we were kind of talking about um your fetishes and your kinks last time. So since of course you've kind of dived into yourself more, did some more discovery, have there been any new kinks or fetishes that have come to light?
Um, not like, actually, I can look at my little notes book because we went through turn ons and turn offs and stuff. It's interesting because like a lot of my, I couldn't really track what my a lot of my turn ons were. I've never thought, I didn't really think about it for a long time.
Right.
Uh, and it just was never something that, saying it sounds dumb, but it was never something that felt important.
Right. For
Um,
sure.
but like I don't know, for, it's just a lot, like I enjoy the details. I like, and that was something I kind of didn't realize until recently, was a lot of the like content I enjoy the most is like high definition,
Okay.
up close, and not like just a cropped photo of something, but like skin tone, or like getting goosebumps and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like goosebumps and hair standing up on edge. I don't know why, but that just like it sets
Okay.
off alarms in the brain. Um, I mean, I love sucking dick. It's great. Uh, I've realized how much like more verse I am with the more content I make, because I'm like, oh, I haven't posted any sub stuff in a while, and then I'll just go on a binge of
Hmm.
like riding content or ass content or like uh lingerie content or whatever. And then sometimes I'll be on a kick of just like more masculine or just like more dominating. And I have it's in like it's very clear between the two. Like there's not too many things that are both. Some of them are, but and like some of the stuff that I post is a lot of or has just like me smiling with my dick out. So I'm like, no, it's fine, it's fun. And there it's not all horny all the time. Like some of the times it's just like, here's an old picture that I had, and then here's a funny comment or funny top top text, whatever. Um, but yeah, for like kinks, it's mostly just been just that I realized more so was the definition of things, and I like highlighting that in my content, like bodies movement and things like that, and fluid, like I don't know, just like curves and texture and a lot of different things to grab on.
Nice, nice. So also the transition to you having your experience with males. We didn't get to talk about that last time because we talked about how you thought you enjoyed them, but you hadn't had any male interactions. So
Yeah, I
tell me
hadn't.
about it.
It's. I mean, it definitely helped that I knew them. Like I'm
Right.
friends with them. It's. I think because I didn't do the collaboration before the last time we talked because I had still my old profile. Um, yeah, no, it was fun. It was great. I loved doing it. I felt like a whore. It was like I just there was uh still like a level of newness to it where I had a bit of anxiety, but it wasn't bad, especially because like they are such lovely people and such
Right,
lovely friends, and they come over all the time, and we're very close with them.
right,
But and also like no like my partner having such a good read on that person,
right,
uh, because that's the friend of hers from like way back is the first like male I collaborated with, um, and it was really nice. It was a lot more pleasant than my brain was telling me it was going to be. I was
right.
just like in my head about a lot of stuff, and then I gagged on a dick for like 10 minutes, and it was great. And I had a great time.
Delicious. Delicious.
That and that it was fun, yeah. Like that day we did the nudist beach shoot,
Mhm.
and it was a long day because it's like to get down there you have to go down a fucking hill and like some cliffs and shit. So it's very treacherous if you're carrying a lot of props, which we were.
Right.
So we got back. Like it was fun. It was a blast. I was very excited the entire time. Um, and we got back to their place where we had like started the day. I just had to take a quick shower, so we all like
Right.
did our individual showers, and then we made some more content at their house because they like it had turned nighttime, so we were just utilizing that and some fun lights that they had,
Right.
and then I went home and it was great.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love that it was such a positive experience and you had someone that was kind of willing to help you explore that more. I know um, I have family in Texas, so I know that there's quite a few areas where it's pretty closed off and traditional. So it's kind of hard to find people to work with, right? That's why I was curious because in Kentucky it's
Yeah,
the same way except worse because
yeah,
Kentucky's smaller. So it
yeah,
creates a lot of problems if you're trying to kind of dive in and branch out and make your brand huge. I mean, there are people in Texas and people in Kentucky alike that have been successful, but it takes a lot of hard work. It takes consistency and hard work. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I've noted like there's a few. It's interesting. I've noticed there's more trans artists in Austin uh than anything.
Hmm.
And I've connected with a few of them, and I ran into one of them at a club one night, just in the middle of downtown, and I was like, "Oh my god, hi!" And it was
Right.
fun. Yeah, no, it's it's kind of dismal. There's not too many people um that are on like an accessible level. I feel like the successful ones here or the artists that come across my feed or wherever I'm searching that are here generally have like 100K plus followers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't even. I they're on a different level. I'm like, there's no not too many amateur level people here with me. There's a few, and like the people I worked with are lovely.
Well, you
The
got to start
biggest
somewhere
issue.
too. You have to realize they've been in the game a lot longer.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not like not to complain or anything. But the only hiccups I've come across in my like journeys for finding people to work with have just been no one knows how to schedule. And that's not on them. I know adult being an adult is hard,
Yes.
but does sometimes it gets to me.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we planned something and then nothing happened and then nothing
Yeah.
and then
And that's
radio
exhausting
silence.
for like content too, right? Because you are
Yeah.
expecting to have this for work and then you don't have it. Well, we had to have a rescheduling just for this podcast because I ended up getting sick. Like, oh my goodness. So I thought I had food poisoning, right? I told you I had food poisoning. Well,
Yeah, you were pretty feeling gross.
actually, yeah, actually, I ended up having a upper respiratory infection and a food allergy combination. So I wasn't food poisoning, but it felt like my body was food poisoned because yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that's
not cool. It's also why I
what
look homeless today. My apologies.
you look great. You're fine.
But
What was the food allergy?
oh man, listen, with my immune issues, they come and go. So
Oh no.
I have a local pizza joint that it was the only place that I can eat out, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, they changed their recipe to something else, and I thought that's what gave me food poisoning. And then I went to the doctor, got tested, come to find out there's upper respiratory infection and something else going on. But anyway, the upper respiratory caused me to have my food allergies heightened. So yeah, I just kind of felt like death. But
Bodies are weird.
don't I know? But that leads me to like whenever I'm scheduling for the podcast or if I'm scheduling for a collab, I've even had people for paid collabs, like they paid me to collaborate with them and then they just never show up because they're like scared to show up.
What the
Like
fuck?
they think I'm like this person that's just gonna like beat the shit out of them or something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just so scary.
I That's wild. Maybe their kink was just like giving you money.
I wish I like those people. I'm a phenom. I love it. But like there are people that schedule me as a dom that do the same shit. Actually, not even it was a month ago. I had someone schedule local and they paid the deposit, they paid the fees. They're like, I'm on my way, I'm 30 minutes out, and I'm waiting 2 hours. And I'm like, where are you? They deleted their accounts. Yeah, completely disappeared. Now, this was somebody that I talked to kind of regularly. Like they just vanished off the face
What?
of the earth. And I'm like,
They got found out.
that's what I said. I was like, somebody had to catch, yeah.
Yeah, someone got caught.
But like that happens regularly. I couldn't tell you how many people that I've had pay deposits, pay fees, and not show up.
That's
Like I even had
wild.
people buy fly me to use, give me the money, and disappear.
Oh my God. That is so odd. I mean,
It happens
like,
all the time. It happens all the time.
does it feel good to get the money and be like, I didn't have to work? Or do you get annoyed?
Well, I get annoyed
Yeah?
because I prepare
Even if you get
myself.
paid?
Yes, because it's my
Really?
passion. I feel like someone is insulting my work
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I could see that.
because I do all this prep, especially if I'm like flying to this place or if I'm driving to this place. Like,
Yeah.
why are you trying to give me $2,500 and just not be there? Why are you not here? Like,
yeah, that's so weird.
That part is I think that's the only frustrating part for me though, that I put energy and effort into it and they just fuck up my energy. Other than that, I don't mind. Like, I don't mind if you're paying for a local session and you don't show up. I'm a little annoyed, like, fuck you too, but I'm not upset. But now if I'm literally going somewhere and everything, like, which is why if I'm doing some kind of travel, I charge completely upfront for that reason.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's exhausting because so many people just don't show up.
I hate getting on planes enough. I could not imagine getting on a plane and then getting to my destination and being like, oh, cool.
I gotta turn around and go
Guess
back.
I gotta do it again. But I got
$2,500.
Yeah, shit. It's
crazy.
Even
not free collaborators just completely drop the ball. People that are paying you completely drop the ball. I've had to happen. I couldn't tell you how many times. I had this one time I traveled. It was a 6-hour fly me to you. This was me driving. So I had to turn around and drive back.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'd be so mad.
Yes. You see why now.
I would get there. With that money, I'd be like, I'm gonna get some kind of food that I can't get at home, and then I'm gonna leave. Like, I'll do a trip for a burger. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to turn it into a positive. Like, I'd get a little treat if I got blown off.
Yeah. The challenges. Yeah. But I mean, other than that, I don't have too much to complain about it because I mean, I got paid regardless. But it's just annoying, especially if I have to drive there and I like drive and then it's like.
Yeah. And you're like, I put miles on my car for this.
Yes.
I put gas. My car's that much closer to death now.
Yeah, yes.
It's like, you motherfuckers, she's so close. She's so old.
This was your plot all along.
Yeah. Just strand me. Oh God. I'd be more scared of that. I don't know if I would drive to any of my stuff. I'd be horrified of my car breaking down.
No, I definitely I drive to the ones, especially if I'm just not feeling like flying, or if it's something that's 6 hours or less. I don't mind driving, but I'm used to driving to like Texas and stuff. That's 14 to 16 out. Yeah.
No, I get fidgety in the car after 2.5 hours. Because I'm in Austin, and regularly my partner and I will like go down to Houston, and it's a 3.5 hour drive depending on traffic. But that last hour to hour and a half, I'm just like, I gotta get out of the car. I gotta get out of the fucking car. I have to piss. I gotta do something. But fuck this car. Like, I've had too many, because I moved from California to here. And I drove the whole time, but I drove down once to visit. So we drove here and then drove back. And then I drove back again by myself, moving, like in a fucking U-Haul. So I had to do that drive again. And then I had to go back and get my car and drive that over. So I had made like, I've driven that 20 to 22 hour drive 5.5 times. And I hate it. I'm over driving for the rest of my life. It's like, when the fuck can I get a car that isn't a Tesla that drives me somewhere without me having to do anything? Oh, or like a personal helicopter that runs on fucking an ice cube or something. I don't know, man. Shit. I want renewable energy now.
That goes back to like, I have like submissives that are like, well, I'll drive you everywhere you want to go. And I'm like, well, one, that sounds amazing, whenever you're kind of thinking about it, well, I don't have to drive. But then whenever you look at the pros and cons, like, I don't trust many people to drive me, so that's not going to work.
Exactly. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword.
So what is the longest you have drove so far for a collaboration?
Ooh, I think it's going to be this one upcoming. It's going to be about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So it won't be that bad. I've never driven outside of the state for a collab. but I don't know if I would. I feel like I would just fly. I'd be like,
Right.
fuck that. I don't want to drive. And
Yeah.
even at that point, I feel like to even consider flying to or any sort of like big distance travel to collaborate, I'm like, this either has to have guaranteed money
Oh
for
yeah.
me to for like I need to be paid, or this is for like a production company that is
Yeah.
flying me out.
Yeah, for sure.
But for a free collab of just like 2 pages that have under 5,000 each, I'm like, I'm rather not going to travel.
Right. For
I'll
sure.
find someone here that I can work with. Thank you. I will travel with you if you want to can work with me in the future, but I'm not doing that right now.
Right. For
Like
sure.
that disposable income is not here yet.
And like a lot of people think that whenever they start out, they have to start out with like being with these huge name artists. And that's not true at all, right?
No,
You
you're
should start
making
out on a
porn in
local
the
level.
garage.
Yeah. You should start out
Like,
on a local level. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't still take precautions and take care of yourself.
oh
That's
yeah, no.
yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is you can start with local people like a friend of a friend or something like that. So you don't have to worry about one, the expectations, because I'm not saying that expectations are a bad thing, but at the end of the day, if you are looking at this seasoned porn star that has like 15 years in the business, some of them are kind of stuck in their ways and they can be a little grouchy. And with you not knowing kind of your ropes,
Yeah.
it could be a bad experience, and it could be discouraging for you in your growth. So I feel
I
like,
feel like yeah.
yeah, I feel like
Go
it
ahead.
should be one of those things where you're like, let me do local stuff. Let me look at people that are closer to me so I don't have big overhead and expense, because that's one thing you have to look at. How much money are you putting into it and how much are you getting out of it?
Hmm. Like it's yeah. I feel and also just like I feel like going up to one of those big name stars like who's big right now, Flesh Mechanic.
Oh
Like
yeah.
if you just walked up to them and like you're a little starter out page, that's like walking to a fucking CEO. I feel where you're like,
Yeah.
there's a level of professionalism you need
Right.
to approach someone like that and just being like, hey, I'm hot, work with me.
Right.
That doesn't fly. Like that's not who gives a shit. It's
Right.
not about how hot you are, like that. It's more of like how is this networking gonna benefit both of us
Right.
in a way that's gonna make us grow and like help each other versus I want to have sex with them. That's it. Like I feel like that.
Or like a mooch kind of situation. Like, oh,
Yeah,
this is my ticket to fame.
yeah, no, and I mean like being excited by being reached out by a bigger name if
Yeah,
someone
that's
does,
fucking
then
awesome.
that's
Right.
different. But like treating it as like I gotta weasel my way in there somehow, it's like I don't
Right.
know. That's don't be all skeezy about it. Just put your pussy into your work and it'll happen when it
Yeah.
happens.
And I mean, people that are new just starting out, they need to kind of get a sense of who they are before they start trying to collab with other people.
Yeah,
You want your brand and whoever you're collabing with's brand to kind of mesh, right?
yeah,
You want a level of chemistry there, because if not, what kind of content are you really looking to make?
yeah. It's that it's not fun content, like not
Yeah.
stuff you're gonna enjoy. I've heard like I have some of my friends who the ones that I'm working with in the next shoot, they've told me like some horror stories about people they've worked with just because like they're accessible to them
Right.
because where they're at is not super popular.
Right.
Um, and it's just like asshole people or
Mhm.
bad dick or bad sex in general. You
Yeah.
having to fake it. Like, I don't know. There needs to be a level of you wanting to do this as
Right.
your work and your art and putting your effort into it versus just like I'm just having sex with
Yeah.
someone on camera. There's like that weird disconnect that people who are new haven't learned yet,
Yes.
or they have to like take their lumps to learn to learn it somehow or however.
Right. Yes, I completely agree. I completely agree. So, the last question that I'm going to have for you tonight is, if we were talking to some of these new people, regardless of like what a gender or genre that they decide to go into, what advice do you have for someone new starting out?
Don't be afraid to play with your content. Like, don't be afraid to do something that you might not expect that you like or expect that people would like. Don't make things for people, like make them for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my best advice. Just like make content that you find hot, or like try to emulate content that you find hot. Figure out what you think is hot in that stuff, and then be like, okay, this, and this. Maybe like make a list or make a brain map or mind map or whatever, and then you'll have a general idea of something you want to create. If it's a dud and no one responds to it, then you had fun making it. So what? And you can
Right.
retry again later. Like,
And
it's just treat it like a journal.
yeah, be your fucking self, because then it's not a job. Then it's
Yeah,
a passion. And then
exactly.
if you do have a fucking flop, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just like, oh well, that was Tuesday.
Right? Right.
Yeah, where and like you'll randomly get days where you'll get fucking blown up with new followers and likes and stuff, and it's very good feeling, and enjoy it in the moment. Don't expect it to always be there because it doesn't happen like that. It's not
Right.
an ever going escalator. It's a fucking graph. It's a little heartbeat, if you will.
Yeah. And it seems like there's a rotation in what's hot at the moment.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's the it actors at the moment. There's the it people in the zeitgeist of it all, and some come, some go.
Right.
Uh, I there's the one. There's a whole bunch of people in Vegas popping up. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's one other artist, Brandon. He's got a shaved head, a lot of tattoos and stuff.
I don't know.
But another one of the Vegas people, but like he blipped off the map for a little, like a few days or weeks or so, and then came back. And it's like people disappear and then come back very quickly.
Yeah. And that's one of those things, like, I feel like if you get into it for the right reasons and you want to be consistent with your work and you want to last, you'll find a way to kind of make it a part of you, kind of like how you were talking about. You got to accept all of yourself to
Yeah,
be successful and to have the growth long term. You have to start accepting all of yourself, right?
yeah, and I mean that's just sort of like to circle back around to the showing face thing. Like
Yeah.
you just gotta go into it, and it's okay to dip your toe. It's okay to ease into things, and
Right.
there's no rush. There's no timeline. Like, yeah, Twitter might explode tomorrow, but Blue Sky just opened up. I'm on that. um, that's an app that's starting to come around, but you need like an invite key to get in. It's from the same person who like created Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
um, the original site. So I
Right.
don't know. People are starting to go over there. I'm getting more. I'm getting some followers. A lot of men. Not too many. Not too many they them's she hers, but
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm not there yet. Maybe I will be one day. I'm not there yet. So
Yeah, to the other apps.
I do want to go ahead and remind everyone listening, thank you again for coming back. I know it's been a little bit of a
Oh,
struggle for the podcast, and thank you so much for appearing today. I wanted to pick your brain about all of the amazing new evolution. I fucking love what I'm seeing. I want to
thank
continue
you.
saying, continue growing and becoming your amazing self. Make sure, of course, if you don't follow them over on Twitter, X now, I guess I can do it. It's
Bleh.
MR_ERROTIC. There are two R's in there, guys. Okay. Now,
It's like
all those
it's a
links,
rolling on.
yeah, all of those links are in the bio, so you can find all of the amazing, juicy stuff. And I see a very delicious pinned post that I've definitely looked at a couple times myself. Um, so make sure you go on over, be supportive, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you again for coming back, and thank you, Mr. Erotic, for being so amazing.
Thanks for having me.
You guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Hey, it's Queen Frostbitten again, your host. I just want to remind you that you can follow us on YouTube at Forbidden Depths. That's FORBIDDENDEPTHS. Or over on Twitter at the number 4 BIDDENDPODCAST. Remember to always stay educated, consensual, and safe. We'll see you on the next show.